Attention Gen X, are you looking to retire comfortably? Can I be real with you for a second? A lot of people in our generation feel like we did everything we were told to do. We worked hard, we showed up, we stayed loyal, we paid the bills, we tried to be responsible, we kept pushing forward even when we were tired, even when we were stressed, and carrying way more than people around us even realized. And yet here we are, still worried about retirement, still wondering how much longer can we keep this up? Still feeling like no matter how hard we work, it's never quite enough to get ahead. That's the big betrayal. The betrayal is this. We were told that if we worked hard long enough, things would get easier. We were told that loyalty would pay off. We were told that putting in the years would lead to security, peace of mind, and eventually freedom. But for a lot of Gen Xers, that has not been the reality at all. Instead, what's happened? The price of everything went up, retirement got pushed further away, pensions disappeared, job security became a joke, and somehow the people who did all the right things ended up feeling the most behind. Now look, if that hits home for you, I want you to know something right now. You're not lazy, you're not bad with money, and you are not failing. Okay? Remember, you were trying to win a game where the rules changed in the middle of the play. And that's what makes so many people in our generation feel frustrated, exhausted, and honestly, a little angry because this was not the deal that we thought we were signing up for. A lot of Gen Xers are stuck in that space right now where they are doing everything they can just to hold life together. Maybe you're paying a mortgage or rent that feels heavier than ever. Maybe groceries make you shake your head every time you walk through the store. Maybe you're trying to think about retirement while also helping your kids, worrying about your parents and carrying the pressure of keeping everything moving. That's a lot. And the hardest part is that many people feel like they have no room to breathe. You wake up, you go to work, you come home tired, you try to recover, and then you do it all again, right? Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into years, and then one day you look up and you think, how did I get here? How am I still this stressed? Why do I still feel trapped? Why does retirement still feel so far away even after all these years? That question right there is why this conversation matters. Because if the old path is no longer giving the results people were promised, then we have to be willing to look at a new path. Not because we want some fantasy, okay? Not because we are into chasing shiny objects, but because the old way is leaving too many good people behind. They're realizing that one paycheck is risky. They're realizing that depending on one job for everything is a dangerous place to be. They're realizing that working harder is not always the answer. Sometimes the answer is building something smarter. That shift in thinking changes everything. Look, for years, most people were taught to trade time for money and just keep doing it until retirement. But now, more and more people are starting to ask a different question. What if I built something on the side that didn't depend on me punching a clock forever? What if I created income in a way that gave me more breathing room instead of less? What if I stopped putting all my hope in an employer and started building something for myself? That's not selfless. That is not unrealistic. That is wisdom. And I'll tell you something else. A lot of people in our generation have started to feel guilty for even wanting more. They think, well, I should just be grateful. I should just keep going. I should just accept that this is how life is going to be. But deep down, they know something is off because you were not meant to spend the best years stressed out, worn down, or constantly worried about the future. Look, you were meant to live. You were meant to breathe. You were meant to have some options in your life. You were meant to have time for your family, time for your life, and time to actually enjoy what you worked so hard to build. That's why I talk so much about building an automated online business. Not because I want people to pile more work onto their plate. Not because I believe people need more hustle. Actually, it's the opposite. I believe Gen X needs a simpler path, a smarter path, a path that helps people create something of their own without needing to work around the clock. That's why I'm so passionate about teaching people how to build an automated online business in about 2 hours a day. Because a lot of people do not need another job. They need leverage. They need a system. They need a blueprint. They need something that can work for them instead of always demanding more from them. And that's exactly what changed everything for me. I know what it feels like to work long hours. I know what it feels like to be burnt out. I know what it feels like to wonder if life is ever going to get any easier. And I also know what it feels like when you finally realize there is another way. A way where you do not have to cold message all your friends. A way where you do not have to bug family members. A way where you do not have to be some tech genius. A way where you can follow a proven step-by-step system and start building something that fits into real life. Now that matters, especially to the people who feel like they're already stretched thin. Because let's be honest, most Gen Xers are not looking for hype. They're looking for relief. They're looking for a way to stop feeling like they're falling behind. They're looking for a way to create more daily income without sacrificing every spare minute that they have. They're looking for a way to move towards retirement with more confidence instead of more fear. They're looking for a way to have more time for the people that they love. And if that's you, I want you to hear me clearly. It is not too late. You are not behind. You have not missed your window, and you do not need to have it all figured out before you begin. You just need to make a decision that the rest of your life matters too much to leave it on autopilot. That's the real turning point. The moment you stop waiting for the old system to suddenly start working again, and you start building something that gives you more control over your future, because the truth is, the betrayal was never that you wanted more. The betrayal was that an entire generation was told that hard work alone would be enough. And for too many people, it hasn't been. So now it's time to build differently. It's time to stop putting your future in someone else's hands. It's time to stop believing that exhaustion is just part of life. It's time to stop thinking your only option is to keep grinding and hope it all works out. Hope is fine, but hope works a lot better when it has a plan. That's why I share what I share. That's why I show up and talk about this, okay? Because I know there are people out there right now who are tired, they're discouraged, and quietly wondering if there's something more. There is. And no, it doesn't happen overnight. No, it's not magic. No, it's not about pressing one button and becoming rich by Tuesday. But it is possible to build something real. It is possible to build something automated. It is possible to create a business that works in the background while you live your life. It is possible to create income that you can control. It is possible to build towards a future that feels lighter, calmer, and more secure. And when that starts to happen, something shifts inside you. You stop feeling trapped. You stop feeling helpless. You stop feeling like your entire life depends on one paycheck. You start feeling hopeful again. Not fake hope, not wishful thinking, but real hope, the kind that comes from finally having a path. So if this message spoke to you today, don't brush it off. Don't just tell yourself you'll think about it later. Later has a way of turning into next month, next year, and 5 years from now. And if you're tired of always being on, it's time to build a business that works when you don't. If you want to learn how I'm building an automated online business in just 2 hours a day, click the link in my bio and check it out. And if you got value from this video, make sure to follow my page for more real, honest information to help you build more freedom, more confidence, and more control over your future. Because Gen X does not need more empty promises. Okay, we need a better plan, and that's exactly what I'm here to help you find.